Hi class, this is course 2, lesson 64. We are going to add positive and negative numbers. If you have a positive plus a positive, you will always end up with a positive value. A positive 3 plus a positive 4. If you were to illustrate that on the number line, you would start at 0 and you would go a distance of 3 for that positive 3. And then you would go another 4 for the positive 4, and you would end up at 7. Okay, you've been doing positive plus positive addition for years. So finding out that that is a positive value is not a big surprise to you. A negative plus a negative will always equal a negative. Okay, negative 8 plus negative 3. If we illustrate that on a number line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we start at 0 and we go 8 in the negative direction. And then we're going to go a length of 3 after that, still in the negative direction, landing on negative 11. So the rule for addition is if you have the same sign, you add the absolute values. Remember, that is the distance from 0. So we took, this would be 3 and this would be 4, and when we added those together we got 7. The second piece that you need to know is that you keep the sign. So we took the absolute value of these, the distance, and we added them together, and then we said, okay, it was positive, so it's still positive. The absolute value, let's look at the negative. The absolute value of negative 8 is 8, plus the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. 8 plus 3 is 11, but we keep the sign, keep the negative sign, so our answer is negative 11. Okay. Well, what happens if they're different signs? We have to still determine the absolute values, and then we will subtract. And you will keep the sign of the larger absolute value. So whatever number you have here, whatever the sign is, when you subtract them, that will be the sign that you end up with in your answer. So let's take a look at 2 examples here. I have positive 45 plus a negative 21. So I'm going to determine the absolute values. The absolute value of this would be 45, and the absolute value of negative 21 would be 21. So then I'm going to subtract. And just because it happens to be that the larger number is here doesn't mean it always will be. This very well could have been the problem negative 21 plus 45. Okay, so 45, we subtract because we're going in opposite directions. We get 24, and we keep the sign of the larger absolute value. The larger absolute value was here, it was 45. That sign is positive, so our answer is positive 24. You do not need to put the plus sign though, because we all know that 24 is the same as plus 24. Okay, let's take a look at another example. We have a negative number plus a positive number. Find the absolute value. Absolute value of negative 12 is 12. It's 12 units away from 0. And positive 8 is 8 units away from 0. So subtract them. 12 minus 8 is 4. And the larger one, the number that I subtracted from, was negative. So my answer needs to be negative. The sum of 2 opposites is always going to be 0, so we have a positive 5 plus a negative 5. That's going to be 0. Negative 18 plus positive 18 is going to be 0. I go 5 in the right direction, the positive direction, and then I go back 5 in the negative direction. I can also use what I know about subtracting. If I have opposite values, I subtract them. So find the absolute value of negative 18 would be 18. and the absolute value of positive 18 would be 18, and 18 minus 18 is 0, and 0 will not have a sign. You will not write plus 0 or negative 0. It's just 0. Now, last problem for you today. Here's a find the sum problem. We have 4 numbers that we're going to add together. 3 of them are negative and 1 is positive. Now, you can go left to right using order of operations and find the sum of the first 2, then the next one, then the next one. Or you could rearrange these and say that you are going to find negative 4 plus negative 6 plus negative 5, and then add that with positive 9. You can find the sum of all the negatives first and all the positives, then find the difference between the two. That's completely up to you which way you want to go. If we go left to right, we have 2 numbers that are the same sign, so we just add the absolute values and keep the sign. So this would be negative 10 plus that positive 9 plus the negative 5. If we continue in this manner, negative 10 plus a positive 9. Well, they're opposite signs, so I need to find the absolute value of both. The absolute value of negative 10 is just 10, and the absolute value of positive 9 is 9. I need to subtract them. I get 1, and I keep the sign of whatever this one was. The 10 was negative, so my answer is negative 1. So negative 1 plus a negative 5. There again, I have the same sign, so I'm going to add 1 plus 5 and keep the sign, giving me negative 6. Okay. If I were to have grouped all these together, I could have done negative 4 plus negative 6 plus negative 5 plus positive 9. Okay, and that's what I meant by we could rearrange the problem, use the commutative property to reorder, and then we could do all these at one time because they're all the same signs, so you're just adding all the absolute values. So 4 plus 6 plus 5 is 15, but the sign was negative, so that's negative 15 plus that positive 9. So you would subtract those values. 15 minus 9 is 6, and the 15 is the larger absolute value, so you keep that sign. Okay, so you're going to get a lot of practice now adding integers, and some very important rules here that you need to know what to do if you have different signs or if you have the same sign. Okay, make sure that you ask for assistance as you need it, and I will see you in class.